Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into tackling an absolute monster of a threat to global agriculture. But more importantly, we're going to uncover the ultimate shield against it. We're looking at a massive, planet-wide weather disruption that has historically just devastated crops. But here's the exciting part. We're going to look at exactly how we can fight back, using a really brilliant combination of ancient, ancestral techniques and cutting-edge biotechnology.
Welcome back. If you like what you see today, please subscribe, drop a like, and share this explainer with someone who'd love it. All right, here's our exact battle plan for today. We'll start by understanding the El Niño threat. Then, dive into ancient wisdom and natural farming. After that, we'll cover the science of stress tolerance, ICAR's climate-resilient crops, a farmer's seasonal checklist, and finally, sourcing and adopting these new varieties. Let's get into it. Section 1. Understanding the El Niño threat. We gotta know what we're up against, right?
So what exactly is El Niño? Think of it as a massive, powerful disruption in the ocean and atmosphere. It actually kicks off with this abnormal warming of surface waters thousands of miles away in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. But because everything is connected, this distant warming completely messes with the trajectory of global jet streams. For places like India, South Asia, and parts of Africa, this translates to a severely weakened summer monsoon. It shifts all the normal rainfall patterns and triggers these devastating, prolonged droughts, especially in areas that rely almost entirely on rain-fed agriculture.
It's literally a night and day difference when you compare a normal season to the harsh reality of El Niño. Under normal monsoon conditions, farmers get adequate rainfall, which naturally leads to optimal crop growth and stable, predictable yields. But El Niño? It brings a host of massive disadvantages. The background temperatures just soar, and that heat accelerates crop development. The plant essentially panics and rushes through its life cycle, which shortens critical stages like grain filling, causing devastating yield losses. On top of that, the extreme moisture stress in the soil delays planting, stops seeds from germinating, and totally chokes out root development. And the scale of this? It's staggering. To put it into perspective, during previous severe cycles, over 60 million people globally were affected by El Niño. Think about that. Harvests completely collapsed, livestock died off because there just wasn't any fodder, and millions were pushed straight into food insecurity. This isn't just a bad week of weather, it's a massive structural vulnerability for broadacre crops.
Section 2. Ancient Wisdom and Natural Farming.
Now, the fascinating thing is, long before modern irrigation rigs, our ancestors successfully battled these exact same climate patterns. If we look back at ancient Indian Hindu history, we see that communities effectively survived severe droughts using highly efficient, nature-based water harvesting. They engineered these incredible structures. They built johads, which are basically earthen check dams to capture monsoon runoff. They used khadins, this super ingenious runoff system designed to harvest surface water right for agriculture. And they constructed chalkas, these rectangular enclosures specifically engineered to hold on to vital soil moisture. These low-cost traditional systems recharged aquifers and kept the soil hydrated way after the rain stopped.
And we can totally take inspiration from that today. It brilliantly shows how low-cost, natural farming methods can massively boost soil health and lock in that precious moisture. Take mulching, for example. Just using crop residue or straw on your fields can reduce soil evaporation by an incredible 40 to 60%. Then you've got contour farming to stop water from running off, and agroforestry, like mixing fruit trees into your landscape to maintain a cooler, moist microclimate. Plus, if you use deep-rooted legumes, they actually fix nitrogen naturally, giving you better soil fertility without needing expensive synthetic fertilizers. It's a win-win.
Moving right along to Section 3, the science of stress tolerance.
While traditional practices are amazing for optimizing our environment, modern science is actually optimizing the plants themselves. Through a mix of traditional breeding and some seriously cutting-edge biotechnology, scientists are systematically building crops that literally refuse to die in the heat. First, they use something called marker-assisted selection to quickly pinpoint the exact genes linked to stress tolerance. Then, through precision genome editing, they amp up the plant's natural drought response mechanisms. And finally, and this is absolutely crucial, they use participatory breeding, meaning they collaborate directly with local farmers to make sure these new traits actually perform in real-world, local dirt.
The result? It's basically biological armor. These exact traits allow crops to physically survive terminal droughts and scorching heat waves. For instance, some of these plants are bred with thicker, waxy leaf coatings, which drastically cuts down on the water they lose through transpiration. Others develop deep vertical taproots that punch right through the dry, baked topsoil to tap into deep groundwater reserves. And get this? In the case of sudden floods, which kind of weirdly can also happen during erratic El Niño years, some rice varieties literally develop air spaces in their roots so they don't suffocate. How cool is that?
Section 4. ICAR's climate-resilient crops. Let's look at some specifics.
Check out this lineup. The Indian Council of Agricultural Research, or ICAR, has engineered revolutionary varieties designed to thrive exactly where traditional seeds completely fail. Look at ICR Suryamukhi, a maize variety that uses 40% less water and actually sustains its yield through a 20-day dry spell. Then there's ICR Niramoy, a chickpea rocking that waxy leaf coating we just talked about. It yields 1.8 tons per hectare in 45 degrees Celsius heat. That is scorching. And Sabagi Dan is a total game changer for rice. It matures in just 105 days instead of the usual 120 to 150 days, which means it escapes the drought entirely while still pumping out up to 2 tons per hectare under severe stress.
But honestly, beyond just engineered seeds, simple crop substitution is a massive tactical advantage. If you're in an area where water is chronically low, switching from super thirsty crops like paddy rice to highly resilient alternatives is a no-brainer. Grains like pearl millet, which is bajra, and sorghum, known as jawar, are incredibly climate-smart. They need only 25 to 30% of the water compared to paddy rice. And legumes like pigeon pea and chickpea have those amazing deep taproots, pulling out moisture from the deep subsoil when the surface is completely bone dry.
And here is the financial bottom line, because this really matters. Adopting these specific drought-tolerant varieties and alternative crops can actually cut your farm's irrigation expenses by an incredible 50%. So you're not just barely surviving a drought, you are dramatically lowering your input costs and really insulating your livelihood against these crazy climate shocks.
Section 5. A farmer's seasonal checklist.
All right, let's turn all this science into an actual game plan. To pivot from just reacting to disasters to actively anticipating them, every farmer should be following the seasonal checklist before the drought peaks. When an El Niño warning drops, don't panic and don't rush. First, delay your planting schedules until you are absolutely certain soil moisture is adequate. Second, explicitly choose short-duration or drought-tolerant seeds like sahabgidan or bajra. Third, secure and store extra cattle fodder early because those grazing lands are going to dry up fast. Fourth, verify your backup water reserves or farm ponds. And finally, apply heavy crop residue mulching immediately to lock whatever precious moisture you have right into the soil.
Finally, Section 6, Sourcing and Adopting Varieties.
You might be wondering, okay, how do I actually execute this? It's a really straightforward 3-step process. Step 1. Contact your local Krishi Vigyan Kendra, or KVK. These centers are actively distributing these new ICAR seeds. Step 2. Partner with your state agricultural department. A lot of them have contingency plans and specific subsidies just for El Niño years. And Step 3. Join local pilot programs and farmer-producer organizations. These groups are fantastic because they provide direct training on how to grow these new varieties using the agronomic practices you already know, ensuring a super seamless transition.
Look, El Niño is no longer some unpredictable mystery, it is a known variable. And by combining the ancient nature-based water harvesting wisdom of our Hindu ancestors with cutting-edge, climate-resilient crop science, we literally have the ultimate shield. It's time to take action, protect your livelihood, and secure our food sovereignty for generations to come. So the big question is, will you let El Niño dictate your harvest, or will you plant the seeds of resilience today? Thank you so much for watching this explainer, and we'll see you next time.